Hi everyone, welcome back to day 2 of our article on Sister Heart. I'm Kat.
I'm Reese.
And we are talking about this mysterious story that we started telling yesterday.
That's right. And I think today we're going to have some more questions answered. But before we get into today's article, should we do a quick review of what happened yesterday?
Right. So we got introduced to this person who is being taken along a road by a policeman.
Yes.
In somewhere hot and sunny.
Yes. And we don't know who they are, like their age, their gender. But we just know that maybe they're feeling scared. And then they meet Reverend Dale.
Yep. Who takes them on a boat, a ship.
A ship.
Yeah.
And he reads Bible stories to the main character. And the main character maybe does not like Reverend Dale so much.
Yeah.
She
says, I wish he could be swallowed by a whale.
Yes.
Like in the Bible.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then they arrive at a new destination, which Reverend Dale says is that person's new home.
Okay.
Right. So,
yeah, you know, we're kind of lost as to where this new home could be, but I guess we're going to find out more very soon. So let's go ahead and take a look at the article and we'll go on with this amazing story.
Reading.
Sister Heart. We only speak English here, Annie. English is the language of kings. Teacher smiled coldly at me. We never speak native gibberish. Annie is what they call me in this strange new land. It was the name they gave me when I arrived at the boarding school. I live and work here with other children from far, far away. Janie was the first friend I made at the school. She taught me how to steal bread from the dining hall and looked after me after teacher beat me. Janie never forgot her language, country, or her grandma's stories. She even told me the name of her language. Losing Janie was one of the most difficult experiences I have ever been through. She was another victim of the terrible environment we live in. The government men buried her here just outside the school. As they left the school grounds, I saw a kookaburra flying above me. In my mind, it was Janie that was flying home. I hope that one day I can fly home too.
All right, the article starts right out with somebody talking. And they say, we only speak English here, Annie. English is the language of kings. So I think we're getting an impression of what's going on here. So they're saying we only speak English, we only speak this one language, the language of kings? Okay, sure. So language is a noun, and you can guess what this is talking about by the word English, saying that English is a language. English is a language, and a language is the thing that lets you communicate with and understand other people. It is what I love. I love languages. So it includes things like words, grammar, culture, sometimes writing. Some languages don't have writing. In fact, many languages don't have writing. English and Chinese do. And there are about, guess how many languages in the world?
Oh my goodness. I would say more than 1,000 or 2,000.
6,500.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
so it is a lot, but there's a lot that are dying out, so people are trying to protect them. But there's lots of languages that are spoken in Taiwan. You think of Mandarin Chinese, that's the one most people speak. Taiwanese, Hakka, English, Vietnamese, Tagalog, all of these different languages.
Beautiful.
Yeah, remember, it's not about the group that you come from or what you look like. It's about the words you are speaking. So anyone can learn any language if you take enough time and you put in the effort. But it's not good to force someone to only speak one language.
Yes, that's
we only speak English. No, stop. Okay, so English, I keep saying English. All right, the example sentence for language is, for English speakers, Chinese is a difficult language to learn, but Spanish is easier.
I can confirm that that is true.
Me too.
Yes.
I think I was a better Spanish speaker after 1 year than I am in Chinese after 4.
Yeah, my Chinese is okay now, but it was definitely a difficult journey.
Oh yeah, difficult journey.
Well, the article will continue here, and it says, teacher smiled coldly at me. We never speak native gibberish. Oh, okay. We never speak native gibberish. That sounds kind of mean.
It's making me angry. The sentence is making me angry.
It's not a good thing to say.
No.
But there are some useful words here that we should
Yes.
talk about so that we can understand why this is not a good thing to say.
Right, so native gibberish.
Okay, so the word native here is used as an adjective, though it can also be a noun. The noun is a word for a person or a thing that originally comes from the place that you're talking about. So, for example, Taiwan has native people who have had families living on this island for hundreds of years. The adjective native is similar, but instead describes someone or something as being originally from that place. So an example sentence using native would be, mangoes are a sweet native fruit of Southeast Asia.
All right, so native gibberish.
Yes,
What in the world is
native
gibberish?
Gibberish. What is gibberish? Well, gibberish is a noun that means nonsense words or made up language, so not real. So if something is gibberish, it means that you can't understand it, maybe because it's not a real language, or maybe it's just because it's something that you don't understand. In the context of this story, it sounds like the teacher is being mean by calling the character's native language gibberish. It's not a good way of describing it.
No, like real gibberish would be like that's gibberish, but it's not real words. Like we're not saying anything real. But if you just say it's gibberish because it's a real language and you don't understand, that's actually very, very mean.
Yeah, it means that you're ignorant because you just don't recognize it.
And you don't want to learn it and you don't want to understand. Yeah. So anyway, the article goes on, Annie is what they call me in this strange new land. Okay, so now we know that the character is named Annie, which means they're probably a girl.
Okay, Annie is a girl's name usually, and Annie is what they call me. So maybe her original name is not Annie.
I think so. I think her original name is not Annie.
They've just given her a name, an English language name, maybe because they were not familiar with her original name from her original language.
Right. Okay.
Well, the article continues here, and it says, it was the name they gave me when I arrived at the boarding school.
Okay. So, yeah, it is not her original name. It is a new name. And she's saying that they gave it to her when she arrived at this place, a boarding school. Arrive at means you're going somewhere and you finally get there. It's the end of your journey when you arrive at a place. So if you say, I just arrived at the park. I wasn't at the park before, but I am now. I just got here. I've arrived. It means I'm here. So she arrived at a boarding school. And a boarding school is a school where you live and you stay overnight. Like you have a room there. You don't go back home in the evening. That's what a boarding school means. So right now we're going to look at this grammar point, which is something to do with the name they gave her. Okay, our grammar point this time is a relative clause. And that's kind of a tricky one because actually here it's hiding from us. So we see this phrase, the name they gave me. Annie was the name they gave me. Here, the name is a noun and they gave me is the relative clause for that noun. It acts like an adjective and it tells us something about the noun. I said that it's hiding because usually there's a hidden pronoun here, that. So with it, you'd see it was the name that they gave me. This means it was their name for me. Without they gave me, here we're missing some important information about the noun. So if you hear, it was the name when I arrived at the boarding school, that's kind of weird, right? It doesn't really tell us anything. We need this relative clause to tell us why we're talking about this noun, the name. We can put this in two sentences and combine them to understand it better. So, sentence 1, Annie is a name. Sentence 2, they gave me the name. Put them together, Annie is the name they gave me. Remember, don't put the noun at the end again. We don't want Annie is the name they gave me the name. No, we don't want that. We only need it one time at the beginning. Annie is the name they gave me.
Okay, thank you, Kat, for that excellent explanation.
No
Let's
problem.
get into the article. So it says, I live and work here with other children from far, far away.
Ah, other children. So now we know not only is she a girl, she's a child. And she lives and works there?
That's surprising because
Yeah.
children don't usually work, especially nowadays, but maybe before it was more common.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would be her choice to work.
I mean, it wasn't her choice to even come there.
Yes.
So, it's just what she has to do. So the article goes on, Janie was the first friend I made at the school. Well, that's good. It's good that she has a friend.
Janie. And Janie usually would be a girl's name as well.
Yes.
So it looks like Annie and Janie are now friends, and let's see what they do together. Well, the article continues. It says, she, Janie, taught me how to steal bread from the dining hall and looked after me after teacher beat me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a very nice place to be.
No.
The students are beat, that means to be hit, by the teachers, and they are so hungry that they have to steal food. It sounds just awful. So what does it mean to steal something? Well, steal is a verb, and it means to take something that is not yours. If you steal from a shop, it means that you're taking something without paying for it. You didn't give them money.
Oops.
Stealing is pretty bad.
Yeah.
But it seems that maybe Janie and Annie, the two characters, are so hungry that they must steal food or they'll starve.
Yeah, probably. And that sounds really, really bad.
Yes, not good. Well, an example sentence using steal would be, every morning I steal $50 from my mum's purse to buy breakfast.
You bad kid.
That's naughty, yes.
Yeah, you should just ask her for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Please don't steal things.
Yeah, if you need breakfast, your mom will probably give you 50 NT if she's not really mean to you. Anyway, the article goes on, Janie never forgot her language, country, or her grandma's stories. So it sounds like Janie was also stolen from where she was from.
Yes, and the clue is that she still has these memories about her previous life in her original land.
Yeah.
So maybe all of the children in this boarding school are in the same situation, that they've all been taken from somewhere. Okay, well, let's find out more. The article says, she even told me the name of her language.
Oh, so they have two different actual languages.
Right, so
Okay.
I think that maybe these children are being taught to speak English. They didn't speak English originally, and we know that maybe they are from different places because they have their own different languages as well.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, so different children being brought from different places to the same school. But the article goes on with something extremely sad. Losing Janie was one of the most difficult experiences I have ever been through. It doesn't mean that, she looked under her bed and Janie wasn't there one day. It doesn't mean she lost her like you lose a toy. It means Janie died.
Yeah.
Or she was taken away from the school, but in this case we know that she's gone.
Yes. When we say we lose somebody, usually that means that that person has died.
Yeah. So anyway, we're saying this is one of the hardest experiences she's gone through. So an experience is a noun that, it's something you go through. It's basically something that explains itself. It's something that happens to you in your life. It forms a memory or usually changes you in some way. So you can have a happy experience. There are sad ones like this one. You could have a boring experience or even a scary one. It could be all kinds of things. As long as it's memorable and it sort of teaches you something or changes you in some way. We talk about them as something that is important. It's also a verb though. You can experience something, which means you see or hear or go through an event. So I'll give you an example sentence for each one. The noun, I'll never forget the experience of seeing my favorite band in concert. That's a happy experience.
It is.
Now, the verb, Stella has experienced some very sad moments in her life, but she says they've made her stronger.
That's definitely true. I've had some hard, sad experiences in my life, and I always try to learn from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that we can have more happy experiences in the future.
That's right.
Okay, well, the article continues. It says, she was another victim of the terrible environment we live in. Okay.
So, they were stealing bread, they were getting beaten.
Yeah.
I can see how a child could very easily just die.
Yes.
Yeah.
These are horrible things for anybody to go through, but particularly a child. You know? Somebody who is so innocent and vulnerable, it's not good.
No.
It's a very sad story, but this is also very important. The narrator says that Janie was another victim. So victim here is a noun for a thing, usually a person, that is hurt, injured, or even killed when something bad happens. So, for example, there were many victims who lost their lives, they died, when the Titanic sank back in 1912. Another terrible story.
Yeah, and a great movie.
A great movie.
Yeah.
So an example sentence using victim would be, the victims of the attack in the street wanted the criminal to be put in jail.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Yes.
All right. So next we're going to talk about what does environment mean if she was a victim of her environment. All right, so if we talk about the word environment, this is a noun that talks about the place around you, usually the place that you live or spend your time. We talk about the environment a lot when you're talking about nature and the earth and going green, things that are good for the environment, but here we're talking about your environment, your living environment. You could say your situation. Your school environment is another kind of environment. If you are in a healthy environment, you have the things you need and your life is pretty good and you have a good space to be in. If you have a terrible environment, maybe things are not clean, maybe they're very dirty and it's easy to get sick, or you don't have enough to eat, or the people around you are mean and make you feel bad. It sounds like Janie died probably because of at least one of these things, because her environment was very bad. All right, an example sentence for environment. Ken moved from the city to the country because he wanted a quieter environment to live in. All right, so now we know we've lost Janie, and because of the bad environment that she lived in. Who knows what happened to her? If you read the book, you can probably find out. So the article says, the government men buried her here, just outside the school. That means they put her in the ground outside the school. As they left the school grounds, I saw a kookaburra flying above me.
Kookaburra, that's an interesting word.
Yes, kookaburra, it's actually kind of a funny word for a funny bird. It's an Australian bird, and it's known for its really loud and really crazy sounding songs. When you hear one, it sounds like it's laughing. It goes like, wah! Like that.
It's a very good impression.
Thank you. When you hear one, there's no mistaking it for any other kind of bird. That's what a kookaburra sounds like.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a kookaburra in real life.
I think I've seen one at an aviary, like a bird zoo.
Right.
Yeah.
Are they native to Australia?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So, so she saw a kookaburra flying away.
Okay, so maybe a bit of symbolism here. Well, let's continue with the article. It says, in my mind, it was Janie that was flying home. I hope that one day I can fly home too. Okay.
Man, that's really touching.
It's sad. It's sad, but it's a beautiful way of describing the loss of her friend Janie. So maybe there's another clue here. Talking about the kookaburra, which we now know is an Australian bird. Maybe there's a clue here as to where Janie and maybe Annie were from originally.
Yeah, because you can't really find kookaburras outside of Australia.
Yes, and so Annie sees this kookaburra flying in the sky, and as a way of helping her feel better about the loss of her friend, she imagines that the bird is Janie flying back home, maybe to Australia.
Yeah. All right. So that's all we've got for day 2. In day 3, we're going to reveal the rest of the story and what it's actually about in history. But for now, we're going to go to our For You chat.
For You chat.
Okay, well, today we're going to get straight into our For You chat question. Kat, I'm going to put this to you.
Okay.
Why do you think Annie and Janie were sent to the boarding school? Why can't they go home?
I honestly have no idea. Like, as a person in the modern day and thinking about, like, if you are a child who lives in one place, why would they send you away from your home if your parents didn't want you to go? Because presumably their parents wanted them to stay with them, so why didn't they stay there? Well, I think back then they had different ideas, and the people who went to new countries often tried to get rid of the cultures of the old countries.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I think Annie and Janie are probably some of those people from the old country that they want to just make into little English-speaking girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the world has changed a lot in the last 50, 100, 200 years. We still have a lot to do in terms of change, but things are definitely better now than they were before. And this kind of thing doesn't happen so often, but it's still really, really important to learn about the history of when these things happened and why, and it will help us to stop them from happening again in the future.
Yeah, or even now.
Yes, and in tomorrow's article, we're going to find out exactly what part of history this story is talking about. Yeah.
Okay, so that's all for day 2. Let's go on to day 3. We will see you guys tomorrow and hope you have a lovely evening.
See you then.
Sister Heart. We only speak English here, Annie. English is the language of kings. Teacher smiled coldly at me. We never speak native gibberish. Annie is what they call me in this strange new land. It was the name they gave me when I arrived at the boarding school. I live and work here with other children from far, far away. Janie was the first friend I made at the school. She taught me how to steal bread from the dining hall and looked after me after teacher beat me. Janie never forgot her language, country, or her grandma's stories. She even told me the name of her language. Losing Janie was one of the most difficult experiences I have ever been through. She was another victim of the terrible environment we live in. The government men buried her here just outside the school. As they left the school grounds, I saw a kookaburra flying above me. In my mind, it was Janie that was flying home. I hope that one day I can fly home too.
Vocabulary Review.
Language. Freya didn't speak Nate's language, so she couldn't understand what he was saying. Native. The native people of Canada, such as the Inuit, have lived there for thousands of years. Steal. Someone stole Emily's phone, and the police helped her find the thief. Experience. Harry grew up in a poor family, and the experience taught him to be careful with money. Victim. Last year, Nancy was the victim of an attack, but luckily, she wasn't seriously hurt. Environment. Marcia likes to study in an environment that is quiet and bright, like a library.
字汇小补帖
Gibberish. Boarding school.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作。活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net